Almost there. Okay. Got it. Okay. Grace, if it is possible, yeah, that's fine actually. Is it possible for you to light another area, because this part is
I was like, I know the lighting is weird. Here, I could move it.
Yeah, and if you are always against the light, then we leave, not towards the light, your face against the light.
Against the light?
Yeah, then we'll be able to see.
Better?
Yeah, this is better. This is better.
Okay.
Yeah, this is much better. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. All right.
No, it's sorry, it's dark in my room, kind of.
No, that's okay. All right. Okay. You can start. You can start. Yes.
The daily human life is often filled with numerous tasks, responsibilities, and various experiences. Our day-to-day proves to be busy from start to finish almost all the time. Things such as work, school, social life, and personal duties consume the forefront of our attention, and we often put things such as work as fun and pleasure on the back burner. Ask yourself, when was the last time you did something you love every single day? Seriously, we make sure to have time for our immediate tasks, but we almost never have time to just simply do stuff we enjoy. Not only that, but we also struggle to find time in our day to just exist, to reflect upon our day and just process our emotions. I try to express my humanity and process my emotions through creative writing, through lines and stanzas of poetry, or just free writing about how I feel in the moment. I relinquish my pent-up emotions on a paper or on screen. But just like you or anyone with a life, I work or go to school almost every day. It's hard to find time not only to just write, but process my emotions as well. That was until my speech class posted an assignment required for our next speech. It was a challenge to journal every day for a week. I guess since it was considered homework, journaling at night was now a responsibility I had to fit into my daily life. I'm sorry. I guess since it was homework, journaling every night was now a responsibility I had to fit into my daily life. But I wanted to challenge myself and also propose an experiment of sorts. Could journaling every day truly improve my consistency, mental health, and overall well-being? An educative article from the University of Rochester Medical Center states that journaling every day helps to prioritize problems, fears, and concerns. So the challenge was on. From October 16th to the 22nd, I would journal every day for a week straight. Would journaling truly help to improve my overall well-being, or would it just become another hindrance task I would have to complete in my day-to-day life? Human beings struggle with consistency, including myself. It is said, though, that journaling every day helps to improve consistency. An author from the Wayward's Journal conducted a similar experiment on herself during the pandemic, where she tested to see that if journaling every day would help to improve her overall consistency and productivity. In her article, she writes that it was through journaling she noticed on Mondays she was more productive with her work, but Tuesdays she began to fall off. It was through journaling every day that she noticed these patterns in herself, which made it easier to face and overcome. I noticed a similar yet different pattern in my journaling process. At the beginning of the week, it was hard for me to remember to journal at night. The timing of when I would do it was sporadic, and it sort of just felt like a chore. I will admit that after I got through the feelings of nuances, I began to feel emotionally refreshed after writing about how I felt. Although Sunday and Monday were very tiring, by Tuesday I felt content, even writing in my journal that this process of sitting still with myself has brought some emotional comfort into my daily life.
Mm-hmm.
It was Wednesday, though, that things began to shake up for me emotionally. I had gone through a stressful situation that caused a bit of anxiety. Surprisingly, journaling that night about how I felt gave me time and space to process and relinquish those stressful emotions. It made me calm to know that I was able to organize my chaotic thoughts. An educative article from the Purdue University states that journaling is a highly effective tool for stress relief. For me, that proved to be true. Writing about the event and how I felt during the day was almost as if I was releasing the situation entirely, and I felt better in the end. The rest of the week proved to be the same, and journaling became a ritualistic task in my daily busy life. And I will say that overall, my well-being did improve after journaling for 1 week.
Mhm.
The human life is a busy one, and we as humans tend to forget to create time for ourselves. It's hard to find time to just simply exist throughout all of our responsibilities. But after reflecting upon my journal entries from that week, I could notice my writing getting more and more detailed as I began to release more and more emotions onto the paper. It took practice to sit in stillness and allow myself to process my emotions. But after doing so, I can say that my state of mind was in a more positive place. It's important to create time for yourself in our daily busy lives, whether that's through doing something you love, practicing self-care, or just journaling and processing your emotions as I did. Once we create time for ourselves in our busy schedules, we create the opportunity to have a bit more peace in our lives. All it takes is for that first step. And for me, writing that first word on the paper. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Grace.
Yes.
All right, you can write your thoughts while I also write my thoughts for Grace. All right, let's move on to our next speaker, Zanaya.
Okay, one second. I'm still typing my last sentence.
Okay,
Okay.
sure.
Okay, I'm done. I'll be 1 second.
No problem. Okay. All right, Zanaya, and Zanaya, you said you do not want any time cards. Right. All right, Zanaya, whenever you're ready, we are ready for you. Oh, Zanaya, yeah, we can't say something.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah, now
I
we can
had
hear
to
you.
unmute still.
Oh, okay, all right, great. Start.
Do you ever find yourself just sitting on your phone, letting the entire day go by without doing anything productive? Sometimes you might feel as if you have a million things to do, but instead you just sit on your phone and scroll through TikTok or Instagram. And when you finally look up, you realize your whole day has passed and you've done nothing but scroll social media apps on your phone. In other words, just overlooking the fact that if you sit your phone down for a couple of hours out of the day, you could be more in control of your own life in ways you least expect, or at least that's how I feel. When I take a break from my phone, things like my time management improves, my attention span, my mood, and even my procrastination tends to revamp. I chose to write a journal every day for 1 week. At the end of each day, I will reflect how I felt after ditching my phone for the entire day. Choosing this challenge helped me to manage my time wisely. I was never motivated to do so, although I always wanted to do so. This class helped me to do this. I would tell myself, so if you waste so much time on your phone doing nothing, and that's not good, you can occupy yourself with other things that are way more important. So I use this class as a leverage to take action and stay off of my phone. While doing this challenge, I was able to really focus on myself. Yes, I always focus on myself, but when I say this, I mean I was able to really clear my mind. I was able to start doing things, small things like make my bed in the morning. And I really think like that's a very important priority as a girl that you should do every day. I will not only make up my bed, but I will clean my home, tighten things up, shampoo the carpets, clean out the fridge, wipe down the stove, the microwave, and countertops without feeling like I was being rushed. By the seventh day of my challenge, I felt my mood improve. I was happier because I had finally done things that I've been wanting to do for the longest, and I never done it because my phone was in the way of me doing these things. I'd rather sit on my phone than do the things that I wanted to do. And this played a big role with like the cluster in my brain because like I would just hold off on doing the big things. Now that I had the time to take my time and do these things, I felt more free. However, I can say the most difficult part about this challenge was staying off of social media. So I did re-download the social media, which is something that I should not have done because I found myself sitting in one spot for 15 minutes. So I then finally came to the realization that I was doing this, and I got off of my phone, I deleted the apps, and I got back to doing what I was supposed to do. Basically, I wrote in my journal every day for a week, and at the end of each day, I would like I wrote in my journal every day for a week after limiting my phone, and then I would go back and reflect on it on how did I do over the days. All in all, I was more productive. My self-control was challenged, but I was more happy. My phone is a small device that is so convenient to reach with tons of information right at my fingertips. But I noticed there are things outside of my phone that are way more important to do daily. And my phone is a distraction from my everyday life. I promise not to use my phone for 8 hours every day, starting from when I wake up. And with these 8 hours, I will do everything that I need to do or that I find important. I think that's it.
Thank you. Are you okay? All right. Thank you. That was enough.
Okay, no problem. Thank you.
If you could write your feedback for him. Okay, Sydney is our next speaker.
All right.
All right. And okay. Great. And use of fingers. Okay, all right. So 2 minutes, that means 2 minutes left. 1 minute, 1 minute. 30 seconds, that means this. 30 seconds and stop. Okay. All right. Okay. Sydney, whenever you're ready, you can go.
We've all experienced the fear of rejection in one way or another, whether it's applying to a job or saying no to a favor from a friend. According to Cleveland Clinic, 1 in 5 adolescents and 1 in 10 adults struggle with the fear of struggle with rejection sensitivity. In other words, the aversion to or fear of rejection that impacts the daily life of an individual. Zhai Zhang, a Chinese entrepreneur, sought to overcome his fear of rejection by undergoing 100 days of intentional exposure to rejection from strangers. Later during the book, Rejection Proof, and speaking on TED Talk in 2017 about his experiences involving rejection. Initially researching the science behind rejection sensitivity. Exposure therapy and modeling off of Zhai Zhang's social experiments, I wanted to discover if Zhai Zhang's methods of exposure therapy would be beneficial or applicable in my own life. Prior to conducting these experiments, I conducted background research into why the experience of rejection elicits like such negative emotions and reactions. In Zhai Zhang's book, why the experience of why the experience of rejection elicits such negative reactions such as fear. In Zhai Zhang's book, Rejection Proof, Zhang mentions that contributing factors. Humans feel physical pain. And while feeling physical pain, the brain releases natural painkillers called opioids. And these opioids lessen the pain and act as like a painkiller to help us cope with these experiences. Like the University of Michigan Medical School wondered if our brains would release opioids after social rejection. During the study, the participants' brains actually experienced, during these experiences, the participant's brain actually released opioids during social rejection, which is basically very similar to how our brains would react if they was experiencing physical trauma. If our brain response to rejection is comparable to how it responds to physical trauma, it's pretty unsurprising that we would develop a fear of rejection. But how can someone overcome this fear of rejection? One method is exposure therapy, a therapy that involves gradually introducing a fear or something that you're afraid of into our lives. Similar to how Zhang systematically approach strangers with obscure questions and typically would elicit a no response. In one experiment, he actually asked a stranger if he could borrow $100 from them. During this time, he did receive a no answer, obviously, but seeing this was the first time he had done this experiment, it caused great fear for him and he started shaking and he had a very hard time. Okay. So although, now that I had a general idea of what rejection sensitivity and exposure therapy are, I wanted to attempt my own rejection experiment, modeling off of Zhang's. So basically on the evening of October 22nd, I was invited to a Halloween party. And at this house, it was a student from SAIC, or the Art Institute of Chicago. They had a large wall that had a bunch of very well done art and hand drawn doodles all over it. And I approached one of the people that actually live at the house and I said, hey, would it be okay if I were to draw on your wall? So they actually gave me a Sharpie and they allowed me to draw on their wall just by asking, which I was very surprised by. Although I didn't receive a rejection, it was still a very unique experience, and it definitely gave me a lot of confidence to continue to ask questions that I typically wouldn't. Another experiment I did was on October 23rd. So me and my friends had booked a ticket for a haunted house at 8 p.m. called Evil Intentions. Although I was nervous, I tried to go out of my way in a situation where I typically would be very scared. And I wanted to make the best of it by engaging in humor with some of the people who work there. So prior to entering the haunted house, there was a chain fenced off line where the Halloween actors were on all sides. It was very, very scary and intimidating. But near the end of the line, entering the haunted house, there was a chain hooked to a wall. And one of the scare actors approached me and they handed me the chain. They said, don't drop it, don't drop it. So obviously they were trying to scare me. But at that time, I started shaking the chain and pretending to drop it. And at some point, I actually pretended to bite the chain. And all of the actors, they were having a good laugh. And basically, they said to me at one point, she's one of them devil children, which was pretty funny. And, it was a really good time. So that was definitely a great experience. But after the haunted house, which was very good, by the way, we started walking to the parking lot. And there was this scary horse creature with a mask on, and it had a baby strapped to its chest. Not an actual baby, like a baby doll. So the actor came up to us and they said that they had stolen the baby. So after they said that, I said, could I hold your baby? And they actually said yes, and they handed it to me. And as soon as they gave the baby to me, I immediately turned around and booked it probably 15 or 20 feet away. Obviously, I came back and gave it back to them. But, these two interactions definitely challenged me to try to do things that I regularly wouldn't. So overall, although I didn't receive a rejection during my own experiment, they offered me a unique perspective. And now in the future, I will try to challenge myself to do things that I wouldn't do in fear of being turned down. So rejection is part of a process of becoming great at any activity. In order to improve, you must overcome. Like a runner running a race, rejection is practice to pursuing accomplishment.
Thank you. Thank you. That was Sydney for us. Thank you. All right, let's move to Vanessa. Vanessa, if you're ready.
Yes, I'm here. One sec.
Okay.
Is this
Okay.
okay?
Yeah, and you did not want me to process through fingers. So 2 minutes left, 1 minute left, 30 seconds, stop. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, whenever you're ready, you can start.
Okay, so my speech is based on the journaling thing, right? It's about procrastination. So, okay. Do you put things off until the last minute? Because I know I do. Do you get an assignment or responsibility and ignore it, that, gut penetrating feeling? Because I bet you do. Do you feel that lack of motivation? Because I sure do. When I was in high school, I was that student, the type of student who would wait until the last possible moment to get my assignments in. I hated it more than anything. Life would be so much easier if I would have just gotten them done as soon as I got them, rather than the night up. Personally, I blame my lack of motivation, although at times I know it was much deeper than that. What is procrastination? Procrastination is the act of delaying action or a certain task or set of tasks needed to be done. There's many reasons why someone would procrastinate. It could honestly just be pure laziness, but it could also be deeper than that. Like, for example, poor time management, feeling overwhelmed, lack of motivation or confidence, disorganization, unrealistic expectations, or even a behavioral psychology. There's sometimes a science to it. For example, there's something called time inconsistency. It's a certain behavior we humans are known to act on because your brain highly values immediate rewards rather than future rewards. You have a newfound weight on your shoulders, and that's something that you have to do in the back of your mind. And you keep that weight on your shoulders, the guilt, the shame, and anxiety that you feel while procrastinating. Those feelings are usually worse than the effort and energy you have to put into what you have to do. The main issue is most likely starting the work rather than completing it. Personally, I decided to journal on my daily life and how I procrastinate or how I did not procrastinate. Looking back now, after the research I've done, I would have tried to write more organized, do a to-do list, find the root of the cause, or write more on behavior, and just be more honest with myself. The most difficult part of this challenge was probably finding the time to sit down and not rush through a journal entry. I would try to write it out at the end of my day before I went to bed. I would have liked to put more of my thoughts and research into my journaling, but in my journaling, I did experience some procrastination. I feel as though, for me, I realized that the obstacles I faced personally were time management, feeling overwhelmed, unrealistic expectations, and lack of motivation. Time management is probably my worst ranked obstacle because of how busy my life is. And honestly, anybody's life could be that busy, and it's honestly one of the number one obstacles. Mm-hmm. And I barely have a moment to myself besides that time I have before I go to bed. With school, work, helping my mom out with upkeep in the house, and my baby brother, it all just piles up, and it feels like I'm trying to swim to the surface for a breath of fresh air. Surprisingly, journaling helped with that. It's kind of been a way of venting or even keeping track of my days and the things I need to do. I also have those moments where I feel completely overwhelmed to the point that I feel like I'm about to explode. So I do have those moments where I'm completely overwhelmed to the point that I feel like I'm about to explode and I don't have the motivation to do anything at all. I've also been known to set unrealistic expectations for myself. Sometimes I act as though I'm Superwoman and I can do anything, so I tend to overload myself with tasks. Overloading myself with tasks has not been good for my mental health, or even physical health. Journaling helped though. The week I spent journaling helped me keep track of my life and what I needed to do. It's helped me realize when I'm setting unrealistic expectations for myself and take a step back. I'm hoping I stick to journaling because I actually really liked it and it helped me with my mental health and daily life. Procrastination is a thief of time. When procrastinating, time goes by faster than ever. It goes by unseen. All of a sudden, you have that deadline, and I feel I gained a new perspective and found journaling as a therapeutic way to help with procrastination. Thank you.
Thank you. That was Vanessa for us. Okay, let's move on to our next speaker, our fifth speaker, Samuel. Samuel,
Yeah.
okay. You can turn your camera on.
Yeah, give me 1 sec.
Okay,
There we go.
all right. Samuel, if you could do this, yeah, a little bit, yeah, and is it possible for you to turn on a few lights in your room? Or maybe, yeah, you
Is that good or no?
they are against the light. So you have a, yeah, that's it.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. If you want, you can like open the other shade in your thing, so there'll be more light there. Yeah. And Samuel, you mentioned that you don't want the note cards, but through my fingers. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay, so in that case, I will show you this. 1 second here. I'm trying to. So that means 1 minute left. I'm sorry. First, you'll see 2 minutes left, then 1 minute. This is 30 seconds, and then stop.
Okay.
All right. You can start whenever you're ready.
Okay. All right. Well, my speech is about culture, and I picked the Mexican culture. So, is there any of you guys that are familiar with the Mexican culture and then any of the tradition or customs that they do? Myself, growing up in a Hispanic household, I've learned a lot about my culture that I will share with you guys today. We celebrate holidays differently. We talk to family. The things that we do, like for respect, foods, everything is a little bit different than most cultures. I'm pretty sure all of you guys have heard about our most popular and favorite food, which is tacos in Mexico. It is a very common food that everyone eats. It is at every special occasion, including weddings, birthdays, holidays, which is Christmas, uh, even Thanksgiving sometimes. Um, Everyone in Mexico loves them, even the people here. Although other cultures seem to enjoy them as well, because all my friends that I am friends with, every time that they come over to my house, they always ask, "Oh, what's your mom making? Is she making tacos?" And then I'm like, "No, not today." So you have different choices that you can pick from. We have steak, we have chorizo, which is like sausage. We have beef tongue, lamb, and pork as well. You can also add like toppings like cilantro, onions, and even salsa on top with lime and some salt. They'll be great. And then one of the things that excites me the most is the holidays, because we do holidays differently, especially Christmas. So everyone is familiar with Santa Claus and how Santa Claus is the one who brings you the gifts on Christmas Day when you wake up in the morning. So for Mexicans in Mexico, their culture is slightly different. They have to wait until January 6th in order for them to receive their gifts by they call them the Three Kings. So January 6th, the Three Kings come, and then they leave the gifts for you under the tree. You just have to put one of your shoe. So let's say you have two siblings. You have to put your shoe under the tree. Your brothers or sisters have to put their own shoe under the tree, and then the kings know whose gifts belong to who. So let me ask you guys this: would you guys be okay with waiting a few more weeks, a few extra weeks, in order to receive your gifts, or would you rather receive them on Christmas Day? that is one of the things that shocked my friends the most when I told them that in Mexico, my cousins have to wait 2 more weeks in order for them to receive their gifts. Another thing that I like about my culture that I learned at a very young age is respect. And every time my family was invited to either a family dinner or mostly a party, I didn't like it at first because I was very young. And as soon as I got to the party, I just wanted to go and play with my cousins. But every time we would first show up to the party, I had to say hi to everyone and greet all my aunts and uncles, even the people I didn't know. Most of you guys, when we show up to a party, you guys pretty much know everyone. But for us, um, there's a lot of people that we don't know as well. Like if we go to a party, it would be all my aunts and uncles, and then their cousins, aunts and uncles. So it's like very family descended, but we still all know each other, but sometimes we're not as close with them. So every time we go to the party, we have to greet each other by saying like hello with a hug and kiss, and same when we leave. Another very interesting thing, another thing that excites me the most too is a holiday, which is Day of the Dead, which is always celebrated on November 2nd. And then this is a very common Mexican tradition that is practiced in Mexico. It's every November 2nd. It's called the Day of the Dead. It's not like Halloween. Halloween is more like scary and like creepy. But in Mexico, it's a very joyful and happy moment where all the families go to the cemetery and decorate their loved one's grave, and then after they celebrate with dancing and music because they believe that today is the day that their family members come back from the dead to be happy, drink, and eat with them, and to be merry all together. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Samuel for us. If you could write your feedback. Hi, class. We have our last speaker, Amber. Amber, if you're ready for us. Amber?
Yeah, I'm setting it up.
Okay.
All right, does that work?
I'm having, let me just see the camera. Yeah. 1 second, Amber. Let me just remove my pen here. Is it possible for you to go back a little bit? You're very close to the screen. Okay, yeah, this is perfect. Okay. So you also mentioned that you don't want to see the note cards or anything. You just want me to show you my, like, through the fingers, right? Okay, so you're able to see, like, so I'll do 2 minutes left, 1 minute left, 30 seconds. Done. Okay. Or whenever you're ready, Amber, you can start.
I'm sure you all have your favorite holidays, something you look forward to each and every year. Perhaps it's Christmas, New Year's, or for me, I prefer the 4th of July. During my weekly challenge, I've dove into a festival thrown every year in Mexico. It's called the Night of the Radishes. On December 23rd, the Night of the Radishes is celebrated in Oaxaca City, a Christmas time festival that has no match in oddity or creativity anywhere else in Mexico. Wild animals, the Virgin of Guadalupe, mythical creatures, and scenes of everyday Oaxacan life are all represented in shades of magenta and cream in the form of the local radishes grown solely for the occasion. It's a commercial, whimsical, and edible time. Families and groups of carvers start working together from the morning of the event to have their scenes ready for display by 5 p.m. Tourists and guests then invited to walk among the sculptures for a few hours, and prizes are awarded later in the evening. While much planning is involved leading up to the contest, the entire event takes place in the span of just a few hours. Once the radishes start to wilt and turn brown, their allure is kind of over. Different categories exist to judge the different styles of artwork to hold a balanced competition. A traditional category for religious art is complemented by a free category. This has fewer restrictions to allow a whole new modern take on it. There is even a group for younger kids who are the younger generation of radish carvers. Though Oaxaca has a long, proud tradition of artistic woodworking, paper mache, sculptures, and many other local arts and crafts, the Night of the Radishes is a unique extension of the incredible talent that the city of Oaxaca brings to the rest of the country. The radishes used in this festival carvings are grown to be larger than normal than other radishes. They can be up to 2 feet long and weigh up to 10 pounds, and they're not meant to be eaten. They're harvested around the 18th of December, and artists have just a few days to work together to bring their creations to life, whether that's planning, the designing, and the actual carving. The radish sculptures can take on many forms, but many carvings pay homage to the season and the local religious traditions by creating scenes from the Bible and other similarity things to religions. Other artists, though, choose to recreate scenes from everyday life. Entire nativity scenes are elaborately displayed and detailed in the items that they are carved in, and the radishes' splendid tones of white and pink create a lively scene that just brings so much creativity to this festival, coming from just a lowly root that is the radish.
Mhm.
Looking into the origins of this festival, I found that the Spanish brought the radishes to Mexico in the 16th century. They grow in thick, long, contorted shapes. Merchants hoping to attract potential shoppers to their town plaza before and after Christmas church services would carve intricate shapes into these radishes' ruby skin, sometimes forming little people or decorating the carving with other vegetables for sale. The festival's radishes were a hit. Locals brought the most intricate offerings to their Christmas centerpieces. In 1897, Oaxaca's then mayor turned the radish carving tradition into an official celebration, declaring December 23rd the official night of the radishes. At the beginning of this challenge, I had found varying holidays and cultural traditions all across the globe. Even though I knew there would be a ton of different things that people would celebrate, it still surprises me what people come up with. After going through the process of elimination on all the holidays I had brought together, and with a little comment from my brother, I decided to stick with the Night of the Radishes for my study. Though it seems like a simple holiday, and in many ways it is, I related to one major aspect of it. People who choose to put up a display only have a couple of days to plan, design, and carve. Since they never know what the size and shape of the radishes might be, it's difficult to plan ahead. You never know what the size of the radish is going to be. There are different shapes, what exact colors they might come in. This can be a little stressful for people, and I'm sure it puts a lot of pressure in those short amount of time. I too have been involved in varying competitions, and they would all seem to have limited time to achieve a result that would get you on the podium. The pressure is not easy, and oftentimes I wanted to quit and just not do this anymore. It was too much. I just wanted to breathe. But this special night in Oaxaca is more than a suffocating competition. That just becomes one of the festivities. It's a buzzing and happy time for merchants to drum up some business and tourists and guests to have a fun and inspiring experience. I think by researching holidays, or at least for me in particular, you can find or relate to something you wouldn't expect, like how it's possible to turn a stuffy competition into a night to remember. Holiday traditions display, most importantly, what people care about, and most of all, there's always a way to connect with people. People are all around you to share in a fun experience. Thank you.
Thank you. This is Amber for us. Okay. With this class, we do finish. So please take your time and respond to Amber's speech with your evaluation for her, while I also do mine. We had 6 speakers, and with this we end the round of speeches today here. I would like once you submit all your evaluations, please make sure that you individually email. Grace was our first speaker, Zanaya was our second speaker, Sydney was our third speaker, Vanessa fourth, fifth, Samuel and Amber was our last speaker for the day. Make sure that you also send them privately an email with their evaluation. So now, once you're done, you don't actually have to be the audience who, apart from the 6 speakers, the audience, you can actually, you don't need to be on Zoom unless you would like to talk to me later on. You can get out of Zoom and finish your evaluation and submit it to me as a class assignment, and then send it to the individual speakers on Blackboard via email. And I'm going to see all of you back on Monday with our final day of the speeches. The speakers, the 6 speakers, please stay back. I'm going to put you in the waiting room, and I will kind of give you a feedback of how the speech was. Again, it's going to be just one-on-one. I'm going to put all of you, all the speakers in the waiting room, then actually get you out individually, share the rubric with you, and talk to you about your speech. All right. So the rest of you, thank you very much. I will see you back on Monday. And if I've asked you to stay back in our last class for any reason, you can stay back, and then I'll talk to you. Okay. Thank you. Vanessa, I'm putting you in the waiting room. Sam in the waiting room. Sam. All right, Sydney in the waiting room. Grace in the waiting room. Zanaya, where did she go? Zanaya left. Yeah, Zanaya. Okay, Amber in the waiting room. Then Abigail in the waiting room.